Every year, millions of people are killed by animals, but the official numbers only tell part of the story. Because far from cities, hospitals, and headlines, nature is still keeping a far deadlier score. After doing a series of the deadliest animals in each continent, I think it's time for the ultimate showdown. 20 of the deadliest animals on Earth, ranked by how many humans they kill every year. I'm Matt LaCrife, and you're watching Key Species Spotlight. Number 20. American alligators, 1 to 2 deaths. The American alligator looks like a dinosaur that survived extinction purely out of spite. But surprisingly, they barely make the list. That's because almost every alligator attack happens in highly monitored places like Florida, Louisiana, and Texas. If an alligator so much as sneezes near a golf course, there's already a news helicopter overhead. Their attacks are extremely well documented, meaning there's almost no hidden death toll. Still, when a 700-pound reptile explodes out of black water at 30 kilometers an hour, even one death is horrifying. And honestly, if your vacation ends with dragged into a swamp by a prehistoric tank, that's a rough Yelp review. Number 19. The gray wolf, 5 to 10 deaths. Despite centuries of horror stories, wolves rarely kill humans. Most wild wolves are terrified of people. But in isolated regions of Siberia, Mongolia, and Central Asia, undocumented rabid wolf attacks still occur in remote nomadic communities. And rabid wolves are nightmare fuel. Unlike healthy wolves, rabid ones lose all fear. They'll charge villages, livestock, even groups of humans. Thankfully, these incidents are extremely rare, which is kind of ironic considering fairy tales made wolves look like serial killers for hundreds of years. Meanwhile, mosquitoes are out here committing mass extinction-level crimes. Number 18. Sharks, all species, 10 to 15 deaths. Hollywood completely destroyed the shark's reputation. Officially, sharks kill around 6 to 10 people annually worldwide. And even doubling the number for undocumented coastal attacks still keeps them shockingly low on the list. Because sharks don't actually hunt humans. Most attacks are accidents. A surfer looks like a seal. The shark takes one bite, then realizes, ugh, bony, regret. Honestly, cows kill more people than sharks. Imagine surviving a shark attack only to get taken out later by a farm animal named Daisy. Number 17. Camels, 25 to 30 deaths. Camels look goofy until they're angry. These desert giants can bite, kick, trample, and even crush people with terrifying force. But the biggest danger comes from road collisions across North Africa and the Middle East. A full-grown camel can weigh over 1,000 pounds, and because of their height, vehicles often slide underneath them during crashes, meaning the entire animal comes crashing through the windshield, which is probably the worst possible way to discover a camel's existence. Number 16. Bears, 30 to 40 deaths. Bears are responsible for surprisingly few deaths worldwide. But the hidden data mostly comes from remote regions of Russia and India, especially sloth bears. And despite the adorable name, sloth bears are basically chainsaws covered in fur. Unlike many predators, sloth bears often attack defensively and target the face during maulings. So yes, nature somehow created an animal called a sloth bear that fights like it owes money to the mafia. Number 15. Spiders, around 100 deaths. Most spiders are harmless, but in remote agricultural regions of South America, Africa, and parts of Asia, venomous bites still kill people who never receive treatment. And the scary part? Sometimes victims don't even know they've been bitten until hours later. The good news is, spiders generally want nothing to do with humans. The bad news is, they still insist on appearing in showers like tiny horror movie jump scares. Number 14. Jellyfish and marine stingers, 150 to 200 deaths. Box jellyfish may be the closest thing Earth has to a floating landmine. Their venom attacks the heart, nervous system, and skin simultaneously. Some victims go into cardiac arrest before they even reach shore. And in remote fishing communities throughout the Indo-Pacific, many deaths are simply recorded as drownings, which means the real toll is likely much higher. And somehow this killer looks like a plastic grocery bag with anger issues. Number 13. Feral and domestic pigs, around 200 deaths. Pigs are smarter than dogs. Unfortunately, they're also built like muscle-bound battering rams. Large boars can gore, crush, and trample people with shocking brutality. And in rural farming regions, many fatal attacks never make national databases. There's also another terrifying fact. Pigs are omnivores, meaning if things go very wrong, you are also on the menu. Number 12. Horses and working donkeys, around 300 deaths. Horses are beautiful. They are also anxiety-powered missiles with legs. One bad fall, one kick, one crushing accident, and it's over. And while recreational riding deaths are tracked in developed countries, countless working animal accidents in rural regions are never formally recorded, especially in mountainous terrain where transport animals are essential for survival. So, yes, humanity spent thousands of years domesticating horses, only for them to occasionally launch us into orbit. Number 11. Deer and moose, around 400 deaths. Here's the weird part. Deer rank lower on this list than they do on many official lists. Why? Because almost all deer-related deaths happen in developed countries through vehicle collisions. And those deaths are already perfectly documented. There's almost no hidden dark data to add. Still, moose collisions are absolutely catastrophic. They're easily startled and can suddenly bolt in any direction. Mothers are especially dangerous when protecting their calves. And considering their size, hitting a moose is basically like crashing into a walking refrigerator on stilts. Number 10. Lions, tigers, and big cats. 500 to 600 deaths. Big cat attacks are far more common than most people realize, especially in remote villages bordering forests and jungle regions. Leopards in India have entered towns and dragged victims from homes. Tigers ambush wood collectors. Lions attack herders near wildlife reserves, as well as tourists who somehow think a lion is just a giant house cat. There have also been rare reports of mountain lions and snow leopards attacking hikers. And many of these deaths never become international news stories, especially in isolated communities where survival comes before paperwork. Number 9. Cattle and bulls, 800 to 1,000 deaths. The animal most likely to kill a farmer is usually the farmer's own livestock. Bulls are incredibly dangerous. Protective cows can be just as deadly. And across massive rural farming regions worldwide, fatal tramplings and gorings often stay local. No headlines, no investigations. Just another tragedy in communities where humans and giant livestock interact every single day. Which means, yes, statistically speaking, the cheeseburger fought back. Number 8. Elephants, 1,000 to 1,200 deaths. Elephants are intelligent, emotional, and incredibly dangerous. Human-elephant conflict has exploded across parts of Africa and Asia as farms expand into elephant territory. In recent years, elephants have increasingly raided farms at night, sometimes destroying entire fields of crops in a single visit. There have also been cases where homes were built along ancient migratory routes, only for elephants to flatten them while following paths their herds have used for generations. And in parts of Asia where elephants are domesticated, some have gone berserk, causing devastating human casualties. So when a 6-ton animal decides your wall is optional, there's not much you can do about it, especially in regions where emergency services are hours away. Number 7. Hippopotamuses, 1,200 to 1,500 deaths. Hippos are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than lions. They are also among the deadliest mammals on Earth. Hippos are intensely territorial and do not tolerate intruders, whether it's crocodiles, elephants, boats, or humans. They're built like exploding battering rams, and once you see one run, it all makes sense. These animals can sprint faster than humans, crush boats like soda cans, and bite with enough force to split a crocodile in half. Most attacks happen along river systems where people fish, bathe, or collect water daily. And many victims simply vanish beneath the surface, which makes hippos basically 4,000-pound aquatic psychopaths. Number 6. Bees, wasps, and hornets, 1,500 to 2,000 deaths. Not every deadly animal needs fangs. This category includes insects whose stings are painfully unforgettable, from murder hornets to killer bees and warrior wasps. Honestly, those names already sound like rejected supervillains. For people with severe allergies, a single sting can trigger fatal anaphylactic shock within minutes. And this danger doesn't just affect people in remote regions. Anyone with severe allergies is at risk. Some species have even been shown to recognize faces for weeks. So the next time you decide to mess with a wasp nest, just remember, revenge might arrive airborne. And in off-grid regions without rapid medical treatment, these deaths are often misdiagnosed as heart attacks or strokes, which means tiny insects may be hiding a far bigger death toll than most people realize. Nature really said, what if panic had wings? Number 5. Crocodiles, 2,500 to 3,000 plus deaths. Crocodiles are ambush predators perfected over millions of years, and unlike sharks, crocodiles absolutely see humans as prey. In many rural river systems, people must enter crocodile territory every single day just to survive, to fish, to bathe, to collect water. And when crocodiles attack, bodies are often never recovered, meaning countless disappearances may never officially become crocodile attacks, which somehow makes them even scarier, because the deadliest predator is the one nobody even records. Number 4. Scorpions, 5,000 plus deaths. Scorpions rarely dominate regional death statistics individually, but globally, their numbers add up fast. Scorpions are tiny, sometimes barely larger than a finger, but in impoverished rural regions, they become devastating killers. Many deadly species hide inside shoes, bedding, mud walls, and rooftops. Children are especially vulnerable, and without fast access to antivenom, a single sting can become fatal within hours, especially in isolated desert communities far from medical care. Number 3. Domestic and stray dogs, 70,000 to 100,000 plus deaths. Dogs are not on this list because of maulings alone. They're here because they are the primary carriers of one of the deadliest viruses known to humanity, rabies. Rabies is so deadly that once symptoms appear, survival is almost impossible. And in many rural parts of Asia and Africa, access to vaccines and treatment is limited or non-existent. Children are the most common victims, which makes this one of the most tragic entries on the entire list. Man's best friend, carrying one of humanity's deadliest viruses. Yeah, the irony is brutal. Number 2. Venomous snakes, 138,000 to 150,000 plus deaths. Snakebite is one of the world's most overlooked health crises. Farmers step on snakes in fields, children are bitten while sleeping, victims travel hours for treatment, if treatment even exists, and many never reach a hospital at all. What makes snake bites even harder to treat is that doctors often need to identify the exact species responsible, and that's difficult when the snake disappears immediately after striking. Antivenom is also expensive and unavailable in many regions, meaning victims sometimes die even after reaching medical care. Studies in India have revealed enormous underreporting, suggesting the real death toll is far higher than official records show. Because in many rural communities, snakebite deaths happen completely outside the healthcare system. And finally, the deadliest animal on Earth. If you've been following this Deadliest Animals series, you probably already saw this coming. It's not the strongest, not the fastest, not the biggest. But with a kill count estimated between 1.2 and 1.5 million people every year, the deadliest animal on the planet is the mosquito. Yeah, it sounds anticlimactic. Until you realize mosquitoes are responsible for more human deaths than every large predator on this list combined. Through diseases like malaria, dengue, yellow fever, and Zika, mosquitoes have become one of humanity's greatest biological threats. And in the deepest rural regions of the world, countless infections are never officially diagnosed or reported, which means the true death toll may be even higher. The most terrifying creature on Earth fits on your fingertip. So as we conclude this series, one thing becomes painfully clear. The deadliest animals in the world aren't always the monsters we fear most. Sometimes they're hidden in rivers, sometimes they live beside us, and sometimes they're so small we barely notice them at all. But behind every statistic is a real human story. A village, a family, a life cut short far from cameras and headlines. And maybe that's the scariest part of all, because nature doesn't care whether the world notices. It just keeps counting.